Disruptors, and welcome back to part 2 of the Millionaire Mindset featuring my special guest, Arash Vossoughi. I know you've been enjoying it, and I hope by now you have clicked the like, you've made a comment, and you've subscribed to Mindset Master Moments if you're watching this or listening to it on podcast. We dive deeper into what your conscious and your subconscious mind needs to be aligned in order to become a person that not just makes $1 million, but make $1 billion impact. I'm so glad to welcome you to episode 2. So go ahead and share this with a friend and let us know in the comments how this has helped you transform your mindset. I'll see you on the inside of episode 2.
About create a millionaire mindset.
I agree.
You know, a millionaire mindset, if you really dummy it down, it's acting as if you're already there.
Right, which you established earlier, yeah.
That's all it is.
See, begin with the end in mind.
Well, everything is the end. Yeah. But
everything is the end. Yeah, you're just going to open up a well of words about what everything is the end.
Everything is the end. You know, what happens is I want people to think of their goals the same way they think of going to the grocery store. So they know they're going to go there. They're not worried, I wonder when it's going to happen. But with our goals, I go, well, it's not working. I don't see it.
They really are the same.
It's the same thing.
Yes.
But that's why the great paradox of life is until we think, feel, and act like that person, we're never going to see the result. Now, here's a different one for you. Okay. And I'm sure you've heard this. Well, I know I've got to act like that person. I've got to think like that person. I don't know how to act as if. I go, you do it with everything that's not working. You're giving me worst case scenarios. So we're doing it all the time anyway.
You're doing it all the time. It's like, why are we complicated? I'm like, you've been doing this since you got out the cradle. Well, I don't know how to sell anything. You don't.
Yeah.
When you wanted that binky, what did you do? You screamed. You convinced someone to give you the binky now or the bottle, whatever it was you want. We've been doing this our whole life.
You know, it's so funny. But you know what?
That was a goal, right? The binky or the
listen, when you
milk,
were saying you were sitting down feeling sorry for yourself for that time, that was a goal. That was a goal. Like when we say, I'm going to procrastinate, procrastination is the goal.
That's right.
But what if we train ourselves
to consciously have a good outcome on our goals?
That's it. And it happens by law.
Yeah.
You know, everything happens by law.
I love that you put it that way.
There's nothing that does not happen. So we have to understand how our mind works. Most people have no idea how their mind works. If I had 1,000 people in a room, I'm telling you, 995 would have no idea the 3 parts of their mind. They may say conscious, subconscious.
I know, but they don't know the unconscious.
They don't know. Yeah.
Are those the 3 you talk about? The body.
The 3 parts. It's conscious, subconscious, unconscious, the same thing. It's just different language and body.
Right.
Those are the 3 parts. So what happens
when you talk about body, can you tell us what that means?
Yeah, your physical results. So what happens is, let's say we have a goal and we do the work, we do the repetition of thinking, feeling, acting that is in harmony with the goal. The repetition, doing it over and over again, now you're overriding the new paradigm and you are empowering in your central nervous system. It alters your vibration. Your vibration dictates what you attract.
Yes.
And let's not pretend nobody doesn't know what vibration is. You walk in a room, someone has a bad attitude, you're like, oh, I don't like their energy.
And we say it's like a lot of some people from different religions, but it's like, we don't believe in vibration. I'm like, exactly. We don't believe in energy.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't? What are we all doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
How do you think we all kind of congregated here? Because energetically we attracted.
I mean,
to this space in this place.
Well, all you have to do, like, even if somebody doesn't believe in God, and if you don't believe in God, I feel sorry for you, but that's your prerogative.
Go for it.
But the universe, because people will believe in the universe, and they'll say, I say, does the universe have energy? Oh, yeah. Well, so do we. Everything is 99.999% energy. And Einstein says it the best. He said, success isn't hard. Just match the energy of what you want.
Ooh, yes. I love that. Match the energy of what you want, which is telling you to become the person that, you know how I put it, become the person that achieves that goal today.
That's right.
Today. And again, I love how you simplify it. Everything is a goal.
Everything we do is a goal.
And we set goals every day.
We're setting them unconsciously. We want to set them consciously.
Consciously. And not discriminate. I think one of the things we do is discriminate. It's like, hey, I want to lose weight. I want to lose 70 pounds. And everybody's like, oh God, that's a lot. And I love what you said. Well, can you get up and walk today?
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk a mile? Can you not eat sugar for today?
Just for today.
Just for today. And I love how you say it. You say, just for today. And so you know where you want to go, but focus on making those steps sometimes just for today.
I'll simplify this for your audience. Success comes down to 3 rules. Mm-hmm. You have to decide exactly what you want. You have to determine what the price is that you have to pay.
Ooh.
And number 3, am I willing to pay the price? Now, I will tell you, you have to want success so badly. And you have to want it more than you can breathe. I always share this story of Socrates. Mm-hmm. There was a gentleman who came to Socrates' house and said, Socrates, I want to be as great of a philosopher as you.
Right.
So Socrates said, let me come out with me. Do you know this story?
Yes.
Yeah. So he takes him out to his lake house and he says, kneel down. He grabs him by the back of the neck and he holds him underwater. And the story goes that the gentleman's kicking. Yeah. And then he finally brings him back. He says, if you want to be as great of a philosopher as me, you have to want it as badly as you want to breathe. And that's the truth.
He gives him it so simple. You got to want it as badly as you want to breathe.
Our want has to be through the roof. That's why want creates abundance.
Yes.
Want creates everything.
Yes.
But I don't want you to keep it in the wanting state. We've got to turn the want into a desire.
Yes, desire.
If it stays in the wanting state, we still don't have it.
That can be the wish. Whereas it's not a goal anymore. It's just a wish.
It's a wish. But when you do the repetition, I'm so happy and grateful now that I am earning, using your example, I am earning $1 million or more, and I love it. You do it over and over and over. Eventually, you're going to start believing it.
And talking about the vibrations, that is how it opens up for you to, like you did in your journey. You were introduced to Bob. You said something to Bob earlier, but that was coming from, I would say, your subconscious.
Yeah, I think so
your
too.
Desire and your goal.
Oh, there's no question.
But then consciously, what happened in the conscious, it was now brought to conscious when you're in this spot where you're like, I'm not going to this job, and you're introduced to him. And now he becomes your mentor. That's all that vibrationally, you subconsciously were creating the right vibration to bring you into the sphere of where your goals can be. For, again, it was one step. It wasn't like Bob just turned a magic key. But then the keys were given to you over time. And let's face it, and this is what I love what you said about pain. When your job lied to you and upset you and you realize how flaky the corporate world is, you had 2 choices. Surrender to the flaky nonsense and surrender your soul, because at this time you're in the fight for your freedom. But you're like, with fear, you can go in direction of, well, he is desperately wanting me. I kind of have an upper hand here. Or you can go, I'm going to bet on myself.
That's right.
And so for the listeners and viewers, I want you guys to hear that in connection with everything that he just taught us. And I'm saying thought because he is a thought leader. And he has also done this thing. And what we're getting out of him is a blueprint that we can follow in our lives, beginning from the way we think. This is why I loved him. Everyone who comes on this podcast, but this is what he mastered, is his mindset. All the millions and all the success is a byproduct, and I say side effect of these disciplines that you've created. So here's the thing I have for you, because some people like, oh, this is all the positive stuff. What are some of the things limiting some of the clients and people you meet in rooms all over the world where you're coaching and speaking that are really blocking people? Some of them would say, hey, I read your book. I've done all the Proctor stuff. What is their blockage? I feel like I already know what the answer is, but for someone who hasn't seen the writing on the wall in this episode.
What people get stuck in is because they're victims. And I call it real work versus fake work. The fake work is the surface. Oh, I read a book. The real work is I'm doing the work. What is the work? That work is I'm willing to fail before I succeed. The real work is I'm doing the repetition of writing out my goal every day. Like I give all my clients a process. The goal always determines the process. But the real work is doing that deep internal work. And that's how the results get created.
Yes.
You know, I have a client. She was working, she's been working with me since January. And she is phenomenal. But she was working with another coach. And she goes, I really resonate. I saw one of your events. I really resonate. Will you help me? And I said, of course. So I give her exact processes of what to do. And she does them to the letter. I mean, to the letter. And this year, now she's on the cover of Lux magazine. She got her biggest commission check of $1.2 million in one check. And she said, you changed my life. I said, I didn't change your life. You changed your life.
Yes.
I was a conduit to show you what to do. But
you had to follow it.
But I will tell you, it's not just roses this whole time. You have to overcome adversity. You have to overcome when the results are in your face, because we've been programmed at such a young age. I'll believe it when I see it. We've been programmed that everybody's more valuable than us.
Yes.
We've been programmed, I'll invest in purses, shoes, trips.
Come on now.
But I won't invest in myself. You know, so we've got to start asking ourselves what programs I need to delete.
I need to delete. Control, Alt, delete.
You know, I did an event in San Francisco, and there's this real young, hungry guy. He's 24 years old. And his mom wanted to make sure I wasn't a cult, so she came. Anyway, when she came in the room, I said hi to her, but you could tell she was locked up. She was like
the bars.
You know, she had a very limiting energy.
Yes.
And anyway, the gentleman comes to me after. He goes, Arash, I really want to work with you, but my mom won't let me. And I said, just do the free things that I have.
Right.
But I ended up gifting him one of my programs because he was so hungry. I don't want him to be limited.
Right.
You know, I don't want him because his mom doesn't believe in it.
Right.
You know, because he does. And I used to be young, and I used to be, when I got in this, I know what it feels like.
Yeah.
But we want to always go to the light, not the dark. So you've got to watch your proximity.
Wow.
You've got to always go to the light.
Speak that.
You know, if you have darkness in your environment, you've got to slowly get away from it. Not really slowly. You want to sprint, but
I mean, we're in that space mentally where we understand it is a sprint, get a parachute, jump.
yeah, I believe we can transform every 90 days.
Come on.
I believe that.
I just saw this thing and I started researching it where our literal bodies change every year. And he was saying that, oh, you're just a 2024 version of your body, especially if you're taking good care of it. And this is why a lot of people, when we lose weight and we go to a more healthier lifestyle, we tend to look years younger. And then people who are not taking care of themselves, it's like they look years older than their true age. This phenomena is real, and it really starts here.
Everything starts in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. Like, I can tell you, I want you to look at yourself last year. What month are we? June.
Yeah.
Now look at yourself this year. Now, if I told you,
it's a big difference.
But if I told you, I want you to look at a picture of you last year to this year, you'll see. I didn't know you last year, but I know you now.
Yeah.
And I know how you operate with urgency.
Yes.
That I'm telling you, you're not going to notice that person. You're going to notice a significant difference in that person.
Yes.
See,
you do.
This is why you're risking more by not understanding this philosophy and how it works than by rejecting it right away.
Exactly.
But I always tell people, like, I never try to sell people on it. Like, you want to work with me? Great. You don't? Great. You know, like, don't. You know, but I will tell you, I know to every cell of my being knows this. and I communicate this way
Yes.
to my audience, that if you want to really transform, you do what I tell you for 6 months to 12 months, depending on where your situation is. And if you do it, you'll transform. And I say, hold me accountable to that. And I want to be on the hook because I know how quickly this takes shape over a 6 to 12 month period.
Follow it.
But if you ask your audience right now, what if, here's a thought, and I think this is the most ridiculous thing, but I'm going to say it. Do you wonder, Alisa, there's more money in the world than there's ever been. It's easier to earn money now than ever in the history of our life.
I believe it.
We all have access to it.
Yep.
And if you're not earning the money you want, then your processes are outdated.
Whew.
Your habits are outdated.
Whew.
Your stories are outdated.
Yep.
But you can have it if you change that.
You just have to change that.
You have to change that.
So, oh my goodness, that is an absolute fact, and we could take that to the bank and cash it.
We can take that easily.
Here's the question: who do you work with?
I work with inspirationally dissatisfied individuals.
Ooh, I love that.
Like my ideal client, and I really work with everybody. I do corporate coaching,
Yes.
I do individuals, I do group coaching, but I work with people who have created a certain level of success, low six figures, that are just, they want more for their life.
Right.
But I also work with anybody who wants more.
Right.
We have to understand, all of us, including me at the top of the list,
Right.
can do so much better than what we're doing right now.
Right.
The essence of our being is perfection. So we've got to get, the starting point is being aware of who we are, that we have infinite potential, that our spiritual DNA is perfect, that it's all-knowing, ever-present, and all-powerful. Our job is to become more and more aware of that.
Ooh.
That's why you'll see people, you'll hear stories. A gentleman is trapped under a car, his 70-year-old mom picks up the car. You'll hear stories like that, right?
Right.
Or a 120-pound woman picks up a car. Well, why? Because they have access to all the power. They're not thinking, they're just instinct. I've got to save the life.
Yes.
So we have access to that all the time.
Wow.
But we have to understand.
We have to create the urgency.
We have to start understanding our mind. Our mind, we have these higher faculties. We have our will, our perception, our memory, our intuition, our reasoning. And we have to, in our imagination, we have to understand those are our superpowers. And those are what are in our conscious mind, and that's what's creating our results if we're using them for or against ourselves. So I would want to know, that's what I wanted to know. I want to know, okay, if I operate in harmony and access that power, I wanted to know about all of these so I can use it in my life.
In your life. Yeah.
I couldn't teach anything to anybody until I did it myself.
You did it yourself and became it yourself, I would say.
And I prepare every day. I study every day. I have a morning routine. I have it every 3 hours, an alarm that goes off. Why? Because I want to set my processes up where success is automatically going to happen. And that happens. I know people listening to this, they go, oh, I know that person. It's just so effortless. It's just so effortless. All of us have it.
Yes, we all have it. And it has to be, as you said, you have to write the programs.
You have to.
You have to rewrite, throw out some programs, and just write the program and put it on repeat.
Yeah, we have to.
That is the simplicity of it.
We have to rewrite, rewire. Whatever we're wired for, we're going to receive. If we're not wired for it, we're not going to receive it. Now, somebody will say, well, what about people who win the lottery? They lose it right away. And I will tell you what my results are. What your results are right now is what we're both wired for right now.
Yes.
But guess what? We can always upgrade the wiring.
Create the programming and the wiring.
Always.
I love it. It's like getting an electrician to put new lights in your home. And that's the light when you have these quote unquote light bulb moments. But a lot of people are sitting here and they're getting 100 million times light bulb moments going off, listening, right? What separates the listening and the hearing to the actual people, I would say the 1%, who are actually going to be like, I'm going to go look up Arash Vossoughi. I'm going to go look up his book at least. I've got 10 books in my savings account and enough to pay the bills, but I'm going to go find him. I'm going to go subscribe to his Millionaire Morning. I'm going to just tap in with him wherever, and we'll tell you guys how to do that. What separates us, really? Like the percent who's going to have light bulb moments, like, oh my God, some people are taking notes right now, and it's going to stay in that nice little notebook that's probably even on their bedside nightstand. And there's a 1% of the listeners that are actually going to do it. What's separating them, and how can we probably grab a few more and get 1.1% out of this episode?
Yeah, it's the talkers and the doers. The people who really want it and the people who say they want it. Is follow through is everything. Until we make a decision, nothing moves. So I will put you guys in a space that I was in. And I have this philosophy I have. We're either watchers or players. The watcher is always on the sideline. The player is always acting. And let's not pretend we're not all dogs inside. Like, we all have that dog that could take us up 10 levels, right?
Yes.
But we've got to stop playing it safe. You know, when we're playing it safe, we're risking more. So I was in...
We're risking more.
This is 2007. Okay, I'm taking you back a long time.
Yeah.
And I was in a room, and my mentor he wasn't my mentor yet, and he was in front of the audience. He said, you guys are going to leave here and say, this was a great weekend. But he said, 3% of you are going to make the decision that you're actually going to do what I'm suggesting. He said, make a decision, you're one of the 3%. And I swear to God, I'm sitting there. I said, I'm going to be one of the 3%. And I was like, I took it really seriously. But I wanted it so badly. And I will tell you, the people who want it badly will do it. But we've talked a lot about wants. But I want to go deeper for your listeners so they understand this.
Yeah.
Your wants start in your subconscious mind. It's connected to whether you believe in God, the universe, whatever you want, okay? The want then gets signaled to your conscious mind in an idea.
Wow.
Your podcast, it got signaled, idea.
9 years before I launched it.
Okay, I would have suggested something more quicker, but...
Of course.
Yes.
It's for all the stuff we've been talking about, is why it took that long.
But it signals, our job is to accept it. What happens is people will accept it for an hour. They'll accept it and they say, I can't do that. I can't do that.
Yep.
And they you know why they say that? I've never done it before.
I've never seen anyone done it before.
I've never done it, and it's going to take a lot of time.
Yep.
What if I told you time is a limited resource? And you're going to spend the time anyway. You might as well spend it being great. So our job is to accept it. Let's say your podcast, okay?
Yes.
I'm going to create a podcast.
Yes.
And I'm just going to give impact to the world. You say, and you tell yourself, you create a declaration. I'm so happy and grateful now that I have a world-class podcast impacting people.
Yes.
And you say it every day, over and over. Now you turn it back over to the subconscious mind. And once it's a desire, when it's in that knowing state, it's not just in your subconscious mind, it's in universal subconscious. And that's where the whole universe conspires to make it a reality.
It does. And again, this is so true. And just about my podcast, I said 9 years ago, no lies. I can even show you the notebooks. Guess what? I printed the cards and a t-shirt. I even wrote maybe 7 or something episodes. This podcast has nothing to do with that one.
Yeah. Well, you outgrew it.
I completely outgrew it, but I also was saying, I'm not ready yet. It's going to take a lot of time. I need a lot of equipment. Okay, true story. I even bought equipment. Do you know when I started Mindset Mastery Moments? That was called Candid Conversations with Alisa Whyte. Like I made QR codes when QR codes weren't even popular. This is how we delay ourselves, because the perfection can be it's a good way of excusing. So now I need a better microphone. I had all kinds of microphones. Do you know when I actually start recording a podcast, I just jumped. I knew what I'm supposed to say. Of course, I've grown. I have all the things. I know what just started recording. And I didn't even use my professional mic. I used my headphones, my old fashioned. I didn't use my AirPods that my mom literally bought for me so that I can record my podcast or go on people's podcasts because I was doing a lot of interviews. No, I just used an old little wired headphone and my phone to record the audio. Literally, you might even, some people can tell and some people can't. Most people say they don't know the difference, but I went for it. I just went for it, put it out there, got it up wherever it needed to be, a little art, the same thing. The podcast, it was just about doing it when? Now.
Wow. That's what it is.
I did say I have a world-class podcast. I didn't know what being in the top 100 and all that, but I know it was going to meet millions of people, and I was committed to that, and it was going to change lives, and we're going to get testimonials of how this message is changing. And then every now and then, as much as my friends, they can come on and we can get on Zoom and we can record. And that was it. And that's what we got. But I did it now. The 9 years was all a waste of time. All I did was put it off. I do believe in divine timing, but I still believe that I put it off.
Yeah, I think it was going to be wonderful regardless.
Yes.
But what you did is you behaved your way into a new identity.
I had to.
That's, yes.
It's required.
Yes, because you got sick and tired of being sick and tired, no different than me, of what you've been wanting to do for 9 years.
Right.
Now, I always tell my audience and my clients, and I know you do the same, I tell them some of the mistakes that I made because I said, I want you to learn from my successes, but I want you to learn not to do my mistakes.
Right. Save yourself. That's why the mentor is the biggest cheat code, because you get to share those. Tell us.
It is. I mean, I made a lot of mistakes. I had an up and down attitude, and I always tell them, like, if I said, what changed my life more than anything, it was I changed my attitude. Because I started creating really good results. I mean, significantly good results.
Very quickly.
And
you did the work.
Yeah, but I noticed I was either high or I was low. So if the results were good, I was super happy. If the results were low, I was super depressed. I'm not depressed, but super low.
Yeah, you're just sad. Just not cheery, not willing to go hard as you would.
I always joked I felt bad for my wife because I was always up and down. Yeah. But, so one day I called my mentor and I said, I'm stuck right now. And he said, well, what's going on? And I said, I just am not in a quantum leap, and I'm used to being in a quantum leap. And I'm either high or low. He said, well, you know better. And he goes, you're letting the results control you. He said, I'm going to teach you a lesson.
Come on now.
He said, I'm going to teach you a lesson that my mentor taught me that I'm going to teach you, and I want you to teach other people. And he said, anybody can have a great attitude when things are going well.
Come on now.
He said, a true pro has an even better attitude when things are not going as well.
Come on now.
Do you know when you get those like ahas, right? Like significant ahas. Anyhow, I went for 2 years. I put everything I was studying down. All I studied was attitude. Those 2 years were the most influential 2 years that I've ever done by myself, where I started studying myself. So now I'm not just studying the material. I'm not just studying my mentor. I'm observing my behaviors. And then what I discovered, my behaviors tell me my programming.
Yes.
So then I was like, oh, this is outdated, so I can change it.
Right.
But attitude, we have an attitude towards everything. All your listeners are having an attitude towards this podcast.
Yeah.
You and I have an attitude towards each other.
Yes.
So everything we do, we have an attitude.
We have an attitude.
So looking back at your question about the 1% who are going to do it, great for them.
Yeah.
Where it should be 100%.
Come on now.
Because think about this. 3% of the population are creating really great results.
Yes.
When 100% should.
Whew.
But if we don't choose in, if we don't act now, it's not going to hurt my feelings or your feelings.
We're going to go on and keep making millions.
That's right. But you know who it's going to hurt? The people keep telling themselves, like both of us had in the past, so learn from us.
Yeah.
I'm not ready. What you're really saying, I'm not courageous enough right now.
I'm not courageous.
That's what you're telling yourself.
That's what you're saying.
It's not that you're not ready.
So you're reading your own attitude.
That's right.
It's like a translation. So what is my attitude right now, and what does it mean? What is the programming that I have right now that's reflecting how I respond to what I say I might want or whatever I'm experiencing.
That's exactly.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, we can talk about this. You and I, we said that the first time we talked. We can talk all day. We can talk all day long.
It's a whole master class.
But what I do with my clients is I put it into a recipe.
Yeah.
And not one recipe fits all.
No.
So you've got to specialize it to each person.
That's the beauty of mentorship and coaching.
That is that's what we're doing. Even before we started this, you're like, well, what do you think about this? I was asking you what you thought, right? So different ideas that are directed for different people. But remember, and I want your audience to know this, if you have a want, it is meant to be achieved.
If you have a want, it is meant to be achieved.
Yeah.
Whatever it is that you're wanting.
I was in a class that I was delivering, right? It's called Millionaire Mindset, actually.
Yeah.
That's the name of the class.
Yeah.
Anyhow, no, it was Millionaire Mastermind is what it's called.
Yes.
Anyway, I had this guy. He goes, well, I always wanted to be a professional basketball player. Why wasn't I? And I said, well, tell me your commitments. And he goes, well, I didn't really want it. I said, so what's the deal here? Are you you can try to shoot down my theory, or you could just do what I'm telling you. And he said, the next week he came on, he goes, oh my God, I am constantly holding myself back. Now, I'll give you a big one that I discovered just recently. I used to always believe the biggest sabotagers we have as humans is we're letting the outside control us. Yes. Now, I think that's 1A. 1B. 1A is we have to stop protecting ourselves from who we really want to be.
Yeah. Ooh.
We have to, instead, you're saying, hey, I want X, but I'll do it when I'm ready. Protecting yourself.
Yes.
Or you're having this resistance that's holding you back instead of going all in because you're afraid of what all in means.
Yes.
So.
Oh my goodness. You're afraid of what all in means. And how do we overcome that fear?
Action.
And I like what you said. One step. Can I just do it today? Or how about, can I just do this now? And then I ask myself the same question. Can I do this now? And then it might be like, can I do this for 5 days?
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Can I do it for 10 days? Like for me, with the habit of recommitting my life to exercising every day, it was very difficult. And I have friends and stuff that are like, well, of course you work out every day. Well, of course you fast every day. And I'm like, you make that sound like I've been doing this for eternity. The thing is, though, I get up every day and every day seems like day one for me.
Yeah. Every master always sees themselves as a beginner.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. That's the truth. Every master sees themselves as a beginner.
Yes.
So they're never impressed with their results.
Come on.
They're never impressed.
And we never really, I would say, we never truly sit here we don't sit here and think about all the things we accomplished. Sometimes people are reading your bio and all this stuff and then you're like, who are they talking about?
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I remember that guy. I remember when I did this. I remember that. Oh, really? It's been an interesting journey. Oh, well, got a lot more stuff to do.
Yeah. I mean, but that's what makes life because, we're here to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Like if you run, you don't say, I want to run the same speed. You want to run faster.
Oh, you better believe. If I'm lifting 60.
That's right.
I'm ready for, I'm in my mind, I'm like, okay, so this week now I'm lifting 20 on each side. Mm-hmm. And, next week I want to get to 30. Let's see how that goes, though. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's day 4 of 20s. And I'm like, this is starting to get really light. I am more than likely going to be lifting 30 by the end of next week. And so that becomes a goal that my mind and body is in harmony with.
But listen to what you're saying. Use lifting, because I work out with a trainer.
Yeah.
We understand, okay, you just said it. 20, I do 20s. I do the repetition of 20s. My body gets used to it. Now I'm doing 30s. It's the same thing with our goal. The more we get the repetition, that's what creates the wiring. Yes. That's what creates the result.
And that's how you would go from 10,000 months to 20,000 months to 30 to 50 to 60 because you just you're on autopilot in a sense.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying? And that's what I think one thing I've kind of learned from people who are super successful in making money and building and generating wealth is first of all, inside of them, they have just created habits.
They have. And
it's not just, but
No, you could say that. But like what I was thinking, they're so deliberate about their behaviors.
Right.
Their behaviors really mean something to them.
Yes.
It's got to mean something. Like I always say, like if you're selling and you're not selling every day, you better be upset that you're not selling every day because that's your profession.
Right.
And so if you're dancing and you're not practicing, then are you a dancer or is it a hobby?
Come on now.
So I think our birthright is to live in freedom. Our birthright to experience all the great things we can experience.
Yes.
Like I'm traveling to London next week. I've never been there. I can't wait to experience it. I've been to a lot of places in Europe, but I haven't been there.
Right.
But what allows me to go there? What allows me to go there is the work I've been doing consecutively on a daily basis.
To create that freedom. And that's a lot of people love to see, oh my gosh, you're so lucky, Arash and Veronica, you guys are everywhere in the world. And that's just, yeah, but it's also a lot of work. It's like when people talk about speaking in Dubai last year at a great event, and they're like, oh my God, you've been to Dubai. And I'm like, it took me 4 days to get there.
Yeah.
There was bad weather. And I slept in 2 different hotels in 2 different countries, one time in the US, and I slept in the airport in Germany. And it was, but they only saw me,
they saw you speak
in front of these great leaders and whatever, and getting awards and things. And I'm like, but you don't understand. I didn't even quarrel. We didn't fret. We didn't get upset. We tried to figure out what was going on. Our bags were in probably Dubai before we were. And we were somewhere else with our hand luggage. But guess what? It's that we just kind of knew we were going to get there, and that's all that mattered. The journey. And my point is to anyone listening is, I said all that to say, the outcome is always so beautiful and so radiant and so worth it that whatever it took, just stay the course with consistent discipline.
That's what it is.
Consistent discipline. Who do I have to come? Put it in place. And as Arash said, and we live by this in my camp, is your biggest cheat code, I'm going with your words, is a mentor. We say the only shortcut is a mentor because you're going to learn what you said, the successes and failures from them. If they're a good one, right? So here's a couple questions. I'll flip the script.
All right.
I got to ask you off the wall stuff that goes through my mind when I look at your life.
Okay.
The first one that comes to mind is how important, because I listened to your journey. You were engaged to Veronica when you said no to getting back on the wheel with the 9 to 5. How important has it been for you to have a life partner that I know is also a business partner and all the things? And I more than likely probably one of your best friends or your bestest friend. How important has that been in your journey? And what would you say to anyone who's on the fence on whether I should go alone or I should include someone?
I wouldn't be where I am without my wife. Like I will say it to the moon because she believed in me when I was failing.
Come on.
And
how important was that?
It was so important. But she never doubted me, at least publicly.
Right. At least not publicly.
Which I appreciated, but I would never be where I am without her. So I think we're not meant to be alone.
First of all.
But you want to grow with your partner.
That's it.
But you got to let your partner be themselves. Like my wife got into a business. I knew it was a bad idea. Like,
but you supported her.
I'll tell you, but I was like, okay, I'm going to let her do it because she needed to learn that.
Yes.
But she was my biggest cheerleader, so I'm her biggest cheerleader. Right. So I think it's why do people get divorces? Like, think about that. A lot of them is just they either didn't listen to the red flags early on.
Yes.
They're
not growing together.
Yeah. They're not really best friends, and I don't encourage you to get married if it's not to your best friend.
Come on.
But I will tell you, when you grow with somebody, it is going to be the most incredible journey of your life.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. I thank you for sharing that. And this is, we talk about life, love, leadership on the podcast too. So how important is is the character of the people that you surround in your inner circle, not just your mentors. We're talking about your team, the people who work with you and for you.
Oh, incredibly important.
And are their mindsets? How do you choose them? What's the process look like?
Well, I have characteristics that I'm looking for. Now, they don't have to be there yet, but if they're hungry, I'm looking for people who are hungry. I'm looking for people who are wanting to get better. I'm looking for people who have a great work ethic. I'm working for people who live the impression of increase, where they really are leaving everyone better off than you found them. Because I can always teach skill.
Right.
I can't teach character. So it's incredibly important to me. Like I always brag. My company, Voss Coaching Co., we have the best team.
Yeah.
And I brag about them all. I brag about them all because they all have heart.
Yes.
And, do they need to get better? Who doesn't need to get better?
We're going to do this forever. We're going to do this till the end.
So I think you never, ever turn your eye of somebody who doesn't have good character.
Yes.
It will be contagious in your environment.
Like a virus.
Here's what I would tell you. If you want to have an A+ company, you can't have C- players.
Ooh, come on.
Okay? You cannot have D+ players. Now, somebody could be D+, but you can see their potential and you can lift them up if they have an A+ character. So character is at the top of the list for me.
Absolutely. The other funny thing I'm going to ask you, what is one of the most embarrassing things that has happened to you recently in this journey of coaching, mentorship, or speaking and traveling?
I mean, the thing that always comes to my mind, the most embarrassing thing that has ever happened to me, I was in college at the time. And I hope you don't mind I go back that. That was the first thing that came to my mind.
We just want to laugh at you and with you at the same time.
So I am at a bar and the stall of the bar is off. So I had to go back in the bar and the bouncer comes out and is like my wall. Well, this guy, okay, now I get even further. There's no toilet paper. And so I have to ask this guy, well, the guy ended up being, when MMA was first starting out, the champion. Ken Shamrock was the guy who was this person. If anybody's in MMA, you'll know. But I remember walking out. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
I can't wait to hear that.
Yeah, so that was quite an embarrassing moment.
Oh my goodness, that almost sounds like me going into the men's bathroom and having a full conversation and wondering why this man and his son walked in there. And I'm like, you guys are in the wrong bathroom. And they're like, this is the men's bathroom.
Oh, that's funny.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been staying here forever. And I'm like, there was a urinal on the wall. I didn't notice. I was at a game with my niece and nephew and I just walked in there so I can finish a conversation and get back to the game. And I walked in, I guess,
so
it happens. Good stuff. So we're going to do, before you tell us how everyone can connect with you, we do something that's called Mindset Bites to Go.
Okay.
And so the question I have for you to give our audience is your top 3 tips that you can give them today that they can implement right now in their life simply to begin their journey with getting on the path to creating an abundance mindset, which is my preference. But let's go. Millionaire Mindset.
All right. So number 1, set a commitment that you're just going to focus leaving this with accepting and rejecting ideas. If you will do that in 30 days, you're going to start things shaping for you. Yes. So if there is an idea, a thought that comes in that I can't do it, say, nope, cancel. If one person can do it, I can do it. That's number 1. Number 2, write out a kick-ass vision that is worthy of you.
Yeah.
I mean a vision. Like, take the time to write it out. And number 3, if I gave myself any advice from when I was failing, I want to give it to you that I would give to myself now, is stop worrying about things that are not here. Whew. And those would be the 3 that I would tell you.
Oh my goodness.
And I'll give you a 4th just to cheat.
We always love bonuses, right?
Just to cheat.
Yes, I love that.
Build discipline as a priority in your life. It will change your life. So those would be the 4 that I would give. I
love it so much. And it's funny, when you said build discipline, I thought about how many of us are disciplined at doing the wrong things.
That's right. Yeah.
Discipline, none of us are We're all disciplined.
No one lacks discipline.
No one lacks
It's about discipline towards the empowering things.
Love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Arash, tell us how to connect with you. Tell us about your book and
Sure.
your coaching and how we connect with you.
Yeah, so I wrote a book, The World-Class Wealth Mindset. I deconstructed for everybody. You're probably realizing by listening to me, I simplify everything.
And that's why this is why I absolutely love your teaching.
Yeah, so my book, I deconstruct my process. And you can get on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, and Audible. I recommend, however you
Get
learn.
both.
Yeah, I recommend both because Audible, I really put the passion into it so you
Yes.
really understand it.
Right.
Go to my YouTube page. I give tons of free content. Tons of free content.
Good stuff.
Yes, tons of free content. It's just my name. And go there. And then I have a podcast with my business partner. It's called the 7-Figure Standard Podcast.
Yes.
And my podcasts are very action oriented.
Yes.
And every week we have a different topic and I give you action items. And, and follow me on any social media platform. I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to help you in any way I can. And, it's, you'll be better off if you do these things and all of these things.
Yes. You'll be on a start. And guys, just so you know, all of the info is going to be including the link to his podcast. You want to connect. I'm going to tell you, he is already one of my mentors. I'm sealing the deal here in a few months because I happen to be in also proximity. Yeah. So I'm not going to miss the opportunity to be mentored and coached by him, but connect with Arash wherever you are. And listen, a millionaire mindset is not only about money. As a matter of fact, is the last thing that it's about. I hope you guys got that off this episode. And so if you had to say one thing to our viewers that I know you give this 4, you give this bonus as we exit this episode because I didn't want it to end. Yeah. I didn't want it to end. We really festered on this. If you had one thing to say that you never want them to forget about life, what would that be?
Seize the moment and you're a lot more powerful than you think you are. Ooh. I will tell you that every single person, whatever you're going through, I promise you, if you're in a great space, it can get better. If you're in a challenging time, it's doing it for you to prepare you for something greater. And if it's really bad right now, it's going to be really good soon. There's an opposite to everything.
Ooh, so good. Disruptors around the world. Yeah. You have had global thought leader, coach, trainer, and speaker, Arash, in the building. And he has given us so much to learn from. Please share this with someone that needs it. And Arash, this is not your last episode. And guys, it's not the last time you hear from him. Thank you so much for your time.
It was great, Alisa.
And everything that you've given us today. So much about service. You taught us that lesson. That's where it all starts. Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Disruptors, you did it with us. You did this 2-part Millionaire Mindset episode of Mindset Mastery Moments, and we know that you have received so much. So go ahead and take advantage of the offer that's in the description from Mr. Vossoughi and reach out and let him know that you heard him on Mindset Mastery Moments. We love for you to support our network and our guests as they are an important part of the work of helping millions worldwide transform their mindsets. So remember now, until we meet again, tune in. If you're curious, you can also go to our YouTube channel if you're just listening to this on podcast and watch the full episode and share it with a friend or loved one that's looking to transform the way they think, feel about money. Until then, I'm Dr. Alisa saying love, life, peace, and blessings. Remember that your mindset is absolutely the key to your success. Bye now.